selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Hi everybody, Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
I can pop a beer in here, right?
Your cousin from Boston.
This here is Sam Adams Boston Lager. It's my go-to beer. Not too heavy, not too light. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh, that's whoopsie daisy. Oh no. Is there somebody that can help? Come on in the room. It poured right in the keyboard. Relax. I spill beer on my computer all the time. Sam Adams Boston Lager. The Boston Beer Company, Boston, Massachusetts. Drink responsibly.
$10 off groceries, alcohol, pet food, and more. Need a nightcap? $10 off. Got a cough? Get relief delivered for less. Want to surprise your crush? Send a gift and save. Try Dash Pass for free and get special savings, exclusive menu items, and $0 delivery fees year-round. Get more from your neighborhood now with Dash Pass. In the DoorDash app, and stay cool out there. Terms and conditions.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning. We've got a clean slate this morning. No wrecks, no stalls, no traffic signal problems to report. Dealing with a heavy traffic load. And, of course, you want to watch out for those school zones going active all across the valley. We've already got buses moving around this morning. You could lose up to 4 sizes in 4 weeks with 2030 Fast Track. 2030fasttrack.com for info. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A warm afternoon across North Alabama, southern and middle Tennessee. Air temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s this afternoon. That's actually right where we should be, but it is going to feel a lot hotter because dew points are going to be in the low and mid-70s. We do get to enjoy a fair amount of sunshine this afternoon, but an isolated, widely scattered shower or thunderstorm is going to be possible. That chance drops pretty significantly by the time we get to the middle part of the evening. We'll stay warm through the overnight, temperatures only dropping into the low and mid-70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
Tonight, the Atlanta Braves a slight favorite against the Cincinnati Reds. The Braves at -115, Cincinnati at -105 on the money line. The over-under 9.5. The Wyndham Championship underway today. Webb Simpson entering as the odds-on favorite, +1200. Hideki Matsuyama at +1400. Louis Oosthuizen at +1800. Patrick Reed +2200 and Brian Harmon +2800. The preseason college football poll was released Tuesday with Alabama the top-ranked team, followed by Clemson, Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Georgia rounding out the top 5. The Crimson tied the favorite to win another national title in 2021 at +260, Clemson at +400, Ohio State +600.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And welcome into our Wednesday edition of Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We are off and running. 77 degrees outside right now. Don't forget, there is a heat advisory out today. So if you have an athlete or a band member, anyone that's going to be outside during or after school today, make sure they stay hydrated as you make your way into work, into school this morning. We do appreciate you for waking up with us here this morning on Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. You want to join the program, all you got to do is give us a ring, 256-576-4977, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. It's open for you as we get out of the gates this morning. Plenty to get to today. The first coaches poll, preseason coaches poll is out. We'll talk about that. We're going to hear from Brian Harsin here in a minute. Good news, bad news for the Tigers. Atlanta Braves continue to be hot. They continue to get closer to the top spot in the East. They get some reinforcement today in that lineup. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey issues a statement in terms of the COVID Delta variant and getting vaccinated. The picture he paints in this statement is get vaccinated if you want to watch football, period. We'll read you what Greg Sankey had to say. But Drew, the preseason coaches poll is out. 65 coaches voted in the preseason coaches poll. Not much is going to change in the preseason. Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State ranked in the top 4 for the second straight year in the preseason coaches poll. The order changes, though, a little bit. Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Oklahoma 3, Ohio State 4, Georgia 5. That's your top 5 in the preseason poll.
Yeah, well, let's expand the playoff because that's the same old at the top of the polls because nobody else is very good. So that's not those 5 schools' fault, by the way. That's just hire the best coaches, spend money, care about the sport, build facilities, you win. Period. End of story. If you don't spend money, Alabama didn't back in the, a lot of times in the late 90s and early 2000s, you get what you pay for. And so that's basically what it is. If you want to win, you spend. Period. End of story. And that's what college athletics is, a big business.
Jim Harbaugh's Michigan spending money on Harbaugh. They're not winning.
I know because he's inept. But anyway, I mean, he's just and it's interesting. I think he's more of a pro coach than he is college.
Right.
I mean, I really do. He obviously had a lot of success in the NFL rebuilding the 49ers before he got sideways with their front office. But I just think Harbaugh is a better fit in the NFL.
Michigan, by the way, is not in the top 25.
They shouldn't be.
In the preseason poll.
They were terrible
not.
last year. Not just bad, they were terrible. I mean, they weren't very good. They've been more hype than substance under Harbaugh, even though they've had some good teams, not great teams. And right now, they have no rivalry with Ohio State. It's not a rivalry. It's a one-sided beatdown of epic proportions.
Alabama got 63 first-place votes yesterday. The Sooners received the other 2 first-place votes. If you look at the rest of the poll, the rest of the preseason poll, you have Notre Dame at number 7, Iowa State checks in at number 8, followed by North Carolina, Cincinnati at number 10, Florida at 11, Oregon 12, LSU 13, USC 14, Wisconsin 15, Miami 16, Indiana 17, Iowa checks in at 18, Texas 19, Penn State, Washington, Oklahoma State, Lafayette, Coastal Carolina at 24, and Ole Miss at 25.
Yeah, Michigan, you're not as good as Coastal Carolina. We're not even talking about baseball here.
or Louisiana and Billy Napier. Billy Napier has a better program right now than Michigan. Oh, in the preseason, as according to the polls.
Michigan's next coach, who knows? Either him or Luke Fickell. But I don't think the Michigan people could stomach Luke Fickell being the Michigan coach just because he's an Ohio State guy. Even though Bo Schembechler was. People forget that.
So you asked the question, or not you asked the question, but we asked the question, Lafayette and Coastal Carolina, are they ranked too high? Should they be in the top 25? Are they worthy of being in the top 25?
Probably not. If you just go talent for talent, Michigan's still more talented than a Coastal Carolina or a Liberty, or people of that nature. I mean, they're getting some, and Louisiana. But the bottom line is these teams are dominating their conferences, and they're winning football games. Michigan is not. So no matter where you play, it's about winning. And so those teams are winning right now, and that's why they're getting a lot of buzz. Now, they have to start, and Billy Napier is establishing that at Louisiana. And Jamie Chadwell at Coastal Carolina is going to try to, and Hugh Freeze is doing it at Liberty. You have to feed the beast in your league every year. You have to be good. That's how Boise State became, the spoiler they did. Because they, no matter the coaches, and they've lost several that have moved on to other bigger jobs, they have continued to win. And that's what you have to do with those programs. But again, we won't know, if that's going to be viable long term. I hate to say this. I'm not trying to scare these fan bases, but until all those coaches leave. And because they will, look, okay, just understand. I mean, Billy Napier's not going to spend his whole career at Louisiana. We'll be shocked if that happens, based upon the opportunities monetarily that he's going to get from some more Power 5 schools, even though he's already turned down some opportunities. And Hugh Freeze, unless Liberty ends up in the Big 12 or something like that in a Power 5 league, Hugh Freeze is going to get another opportunity. I thought he was headed to Tennessee before they hired Josh Heupel. So, you just have to understand that. And Jamie Chadwell, some thought he might be headed to South Carolina. So, but again, you do laud those programs for their success.
Yeah, Jamie Chadwell, by the way, he took over Coastal Carolina in 2019.
Yeah.
Before that, he was at the Big South. He was in the same conference as North Alabama.
Who's now going to the A-Sun.
Right, but at Charleston Southern. So Jamie Chadwell is working his way up.
Alabama some, yeah.
He's working his way up the ladder on the coaching ranks as well as far as Coastal Carolina goes. So you would imagine Napier, Chadwell.
But I will say this about the area.
Might end up somewhere bigger.
Myrtle Beach, South Carolina is a beautiful place.
Right.
I mean, it's on the beach. You're sitting there. It's a nice place to go to school.
But as much as we talk about Cincinnati potentially having a shot if they expand the playoffs with Luke Fickell and they might keep him there, there is nothing there for. I mean, Billy Napier and Coach Chadwell at Coastal Carolina, they need to get to a bigger program.
Well,
Coastal Carolina realistically won't have a shot of making the playoffs.
He had Luke Fickell at Michigan State. Well, I did too. I thought that's where he was going.
Right.
And it did not work out. Martin Antonio and Fickell both were Ohio State assistant coaches before coming to Michigan State. Luke Fickell did not get hired there, at least not this time. But I'm going to be interested because Luke Fickell and Cincinnati – they play at Notre Dame this year and at Indiana. Now, if he wins those games and gets them into the college football playoff conversation seriously, which winning those two road games early would do so, I'm telling you, then Luke Fickell may be the hottest young coach out there. I mean, whatever Power 5 jobs come open, if there's one that's good enough, Cincinnati going to be sweating it out.
Now, they already started the year ranked 10th in the preseason poll, does Cincinnati.
If Michigan could look past it, I mean, look, Bo Schembechler worked for Woody Hayes, okay? And then he came over to the other side. Could Michigan do that if they continue to – and then Jim go back to the NFL where he probably belongs? With
you look in this state, Pat Dye worked for Alabama.
He did. He worked for Coach Bryant for 9 years.
And so I mean, it's been overlooked by rivals.
It has. Rivals. That's when both of them win.
That's what we're defining rivals as. Both have to win. 256-576-4977. That's the number of the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on the conversation this morning. The preseason coaches poll is out. Too high, too low for your teams. Too high, too low for the SEC. If you were looking, if this was Oklahoma and Texas already in the SEC, you would have Alabama, Oklahoma, Georgia, Texas A&M in the top 6. You would have 4 of the top 6 teams be from the SEC. If Texas and Oklahoma were a part of the Big 12 today, which it's coming, it's just not right now, but you'd have 4 of the top 6. That would be powerful.
Yeah.
That would be powerful.
I mean, Brandon Marcello, who's been on our show many times,
yes,
is now a national college football reporter for 24/7 Sports, just recently had a podcast, and he was talking about how it's inevitable and coming that even if they keep this system, that 3 of the 4 are going to be from the SEC. And then, of course, his compatriots, his other 3, were kind of incredulous to the thought, but he was like, it's coming, I'm telling you. That's why they're going to 12.
He also thought Penn State was going to win the national championship last year,
Penn State
too.
Or Ohio State.
Yeah.
The winner of the, I mean, everybody has things that they say. I mean, good God. One time I was ranting and raving back in 2000 in the Orange Bowl when Alabama lost to Michigan, and I was like, how in the hell could they lose to a quarterback who only plays half the time and rotates? This guy looks like Joe Montana. Who the heck? I know he's better than Joe Montana, man. You never know.
It would be a la Tom Brady.
Yeah,
yes.
Somebody named Tom Brady. So, and that's the truth. He was never a full-time starter at Michigan. Drew Henson and John Brady rotated. Brady started most of the time, but think about that. And he ends up being the greatest quarterback. He brought out, Michigan back against Alabama, and I'm sitting here thinking, who is this dude? I mean, they're making him look like $1 million. Well, he's only won 7 Super Bowls. You never know. I was too busy wanting to persecute Ryan Flugner for missing an extra point and ending the game. But Tom Brady's Tom Brady. So sometimes it takes a few years of hindsight to realize what the heck you were watching. And that's basically what happened with when I was sitting there watching the Orange Bowl. And, of course, Alabama didn't have Chris Samuels, who was injured and holding himself out for the draft and had a great career, would have made an impact in that game. But I'm just telling you, sometimes you don't know until a few years down the road how good some of these cats are you're watching.
That game should have 2 Hall of Famers, Sean Alexander.
Well, we hope
and
so. I mean,
Tom Brady. I mean, we know he's going in, but Sean Alexander should be there.
Is really, really close.
Yeah.
He may have to be like Drew Pearson who just went in this year for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
He may have to wait a while, but I do think Sean is a Hall of Fame running back. I don't think there's any question about that. And he nearly brought a Super Bowl to Seattle before they finally did win one, if you remember that. He had an MVP year
that was
year.
Against Pittsburgh and Detroit, that Super Bowl that Sean Alexander played
Walter
in.
Walter Jones is already in Canton.
Right.
But, yeah, I think both of those guys are.
All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number of the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. That's the Coaches Poll Talk, the other conversation. And Nathan King's going to join us here in just a little bit, and we're going to talk some Auburn Tiger football. But yesterday, Brian Harsin met the media, and the good news and bad news for Auburn is that first, Demetrius Robinson back with the team. He wasn't away from the team. He had to get some academic stuff sorted out at Georgia before he could get on the practice field for Auburn. Had to cross all the T's and dot the I's before he could get onto the field. He did. He was at practice yesterday. That's the good news. The other bad news, though, for Auburn is the fact that they lost a piece of the offensive line. Here is Brian Harsin.
Brian, we haven't seen Tyrone Truesdale the last few practices. Do you just have any updates on his status?
Yeah, as of right now, he is not a part of this football team. And that's where we stand at this point. And, the guys that are in camp, obviously since we've been here over the last 8 months, there's been guys that were here and there's guys that aren't for various reasons. And, that's part of, being on a team. There's more things, and not so much in his case, but just overall in general. I mean, being a part of a team, there's a lot of little things that we all have to do each and every day. And the guys that are in camp right now, they've worked really hard to be there. And, hopefully that continues and we keep focused on the things that we need to do, not just on the field, but overall in this program. And that continues to be part of our culture and the environment that we have each and every day.
Now, he did say there, Drew, not part of the team right now. He was asked a follow-up question as what he meant to as of right now, and was there a window for Tyrone Truesdale to be a part of this team? And he emphatically said he is not a part of this team.
Yeah, it looks like he's done. I mean, at Auburn. Now, he had opted back in, a la like a Chris Owens, for an extra year of eligibility due to COVID, and had started the last 2 years and was very experienced, went through spring, and was thought to still be starting at the nose spot for Auburn in his final year. But as we've seen, when you change coaching staffs, and it was basically completely different. I mean, except for Carnell Cadillac Williams at running back, that every coach on this staff is different. Nick Eason, now the defensive line coach, and sometimes there's casualties when you have a change of this magnitude.
Yeah.
And so Tyrone Truesdale is now no longer with them. If this had happened 2 or 3 months ago, I think he'd be a UCF Knight, probably. Don't know if he still will be. Wouldn't be shocked. There's been several already. So we'll see where Tyrone ends up. I mean, he's obviously not with their football team right now. He does have another year of eligibility. Can UCF get him in school? I mean, a lot of universities have either not started. They all pretty much started fall camp. Now, they all haven't started classes. So we'll see if Tyrone's eligible to transfer somewhere else really quickly, or does he end up at an FCS school? I mean, does he end up at a Jacksonville State? I'm not saying that's where. I'm just going through scenarios of somewhere where he could play his final season.
Right.
But he's really a Power 5 guy. So would Gus Malzahn, who recruited him as head coach, would they try to add him to their defense alongside the guy that says that they're already better than Auburn in Big Cat Bryant, but who's only made maybe 5 plays in his career?
Yes, Big Cat Bryant went on the record and said that UCF could beat Auburn and Ole Miss.
Yeah. I think Ole Miss would drop 65 points on UCF myself, but that's just me. They would have to win 70-65, and I don't know if Gus's offense right now is good enough to do that at UCF.
All right. Coach Harsin also talked about being physical. He's saying, though, that this team has got a long ways to go, and that he's hoping that they can get there via the scrimmage on Saturday.
And be a physical player that we know can get into a game and actually, cause some damage. Can do some things from that standpoint, just physically. And right now we're not there. Right now we're working through that. That has to show up more in those 2 areas throughout this week, and as we get into the next week and get closer to playing in that first game, that's where we have to improve ourselves. Are going to be in those 2 areas right there.
Being physical. Got to improve in being physical.
No question about it, and I think that's the thing that Coach Harsin's trying to bring to this football team. Not smoke and mirrors and misdirection and all this tomfoolery, but he's trying to bring physicality and then kind of an old school approach to Auburn, which would probably benefit them. I mean, I think in a lot of ways, Gus Malzahn couldn't stay married to his offense that he had the first couple of years. He kept tweaking it, kept bringing in new coordinators, kept not calling the plays, whatever. That was a huge topic. I don't know if he was ever comfortable in his own skin. And that's what it seemed like to me at Auburn. He would get away from the bread and butter. He got away from the dual threat quarterback. And so it almost was like it was just a hodgepodge of things and too much predictability in a way too. Because I know I just said smoke and mirrors and misdirection, but there was predictability with that.
Yeah.
You could almost down and distance predict what Auburn was going to do. You've already heard about how simplistic the passing game was and why they can't produce wide receivers that are doing anything in the NFL. I know Anthony Schwartz got drafted in the 3rd round by the Browns, but I'm just saying you're not producing elite guys. And so I know they had that run of 1,000-yard rushers, Scott, but if you look at the draft and dudes that have gone on to the NFL, Boise State was producing better running backs than Auburn. Even though the production at Auburn was there, I'm talking about guys that are going on to the NFL. right? Which is how you recruit. So I think that's interesting.
All right, I tell you what, let's get a break in. When we come back, Nathan King will help us fill in some more dots and cross those T's and dot those I's.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still looking for problems this morning. We're just not finding anything. Traffic's been moving along nicely. I don't have any major problems accident-wise, no stalls or traffic signal headaches. Watch out for your school zones. Keep an eye out for those buses out on their routes. Expert heart care backed by advanced technology. When you need cardiac care, you need the heart doctor. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Our zone deal this week is truly an award winner. Metro Diner, serving up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest priced mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. This Friday, you can get $50 worth of great Metro Diner food for half price, just $25 with our zone deal. Just log on 977ESPN.com Friday morning at 8 to get yours.
Maybe the air doesn't blow like it should, or it's needing new tires, or you're just ready for something newer. It's time to move up, time to trade up. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your current car or truck is worth more than you know. In fact, we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't trade. We have nearly 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. It's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your vehicle is worth more right now at Woody Anderson Ford. Corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. I hope all of you are well. These are trying times we're experiencing right now, and I want you to know that we at Baumhauer's are committed more than ever to providing a legendary dining experience to everyone. Everyone is important to us, and everyone is welcome. Please allow us to serve you in a way that makes you feel safe, appreciated, welcome, and special. Because we're all special in the eyes of the ones and the one that counts. God bless.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. From today's headlines to the guests you want to hear from.
Who wants to party?
Listen in and join in. Weekday afternoons starting at 5. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It is Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. 77 degrees on this Wednesday morning. Safe travels into work, into school, wherever you may be headed. Remember, heat advisory today, so if you have athletes, if you have kids outdoors after school, band practice, football practice, cross-country practice, make sure they're hydrated today. It is going to be warm. We want them to stay safe because coming up a week from Thursday, we have our first high school football game that counts in the standings. So the high school teams are getting ready. The college teams are getting ready. We heard from Brian Harsin before the break on how he wants his team to get physical. They've got to get physical. We've heard the ups and downs about the Tigers, Drew. Demetrius Robinson back with the team. And then Tyrone Truesdell not with the team. Got to fill in some more blanks.
Yeah, we do, and it's gonna be great. We talked to him in the spring, but now we're gonna catch up with him. He does an outstanding job with Auburn 24/7 as their beat writer for Auburn Undercover. Works closely with Mark Murphy, Jason Caldwell, and Keith Niebuhr. They're great staff over there. A lot of great folks with Auburn Undercover. And Nathan King is now joining us to talk some Auburn football and fall camp on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline this morning. Nathan, it's great to have you back here in Huntsville on Talkin Ball. How are you? You're with Drew and Scott.
Hey, I'm good. How are y'all doing?
We are doing well. Good. We're going to just start right off with the Tyrone Truesdell situation. You guys are there every day. You cover the beat. As was stated, he had not been seen for a few days. What were the rumors kind of going around? Was this, I guess what I'm trying to ask, was this a complete shock to anyone?
So it's a complete shock based on where we were just a few weeks ago.
Right.
Tyrone Truesdell was a part of summer workouts. He was a part of this coaching staff's plan for this fall. He was a starter the past 2 seasons. He was a starter at nose tackle in the spring for Derek Mason's 3-4 defense. So, but in terms of whether it's a surprise over the last week, that's a no. Just because we had been hearing that things hadn't been looking good for his status with the team. It was kind of tricky to talk about just because the coaching staff has this new rule that we go to practice, but we can't talk about who wasn't there. So I guess until after the fact, until a situation like this where they're gone from the team. So it was difficult to kind of tiptoe around that until we actually got to talk to Brian Harsin about it. So, no, I mean, it's not the biggest blow ever. He's not an all-SEC player, but he was a 2-year starter on a defensive line that had already lost a couple pieces. They'd already lost Daquan Newkirk to Florida, so now they're replacing both their starting defensive tackles from last season. They've got some good pieces there that could possibly fill in, but that's no small thing that Tyrone Truesdell is no longer part of the program.
Yeah, and it comes on the heels of Brian Harsin, though, talking yesterday about the fact that the offensive line and defensive lines need to get a little bit more physical.
Right. That's what he wanted to see out of both those groups. He said physicality and consistency because the coaching staff has a lot of plans for both of them on both sides of the ball. With the offensive line, they're doing a lot of cross-training right now. I believe I counted 5 offensive linemen yesterday that played more than one position. And that was just in the 10 minutes of positional drills we saw. So obviously they're doing more than that once they get into the competitive portions of practice. And then the defensive line, I mean, that's the weak spot right now of the defense already. We know about the linebackers are great. We know the secondary is great. So it was already a group that was going to be put under a microscope this preseason, and now they lose out on their most experienced defensive tackle. But like we mentioned, I mean, they're bringing in some experienced guys. Tony Fair, a transfer from UAB, is a guy who's already made some buzz over the first few days. So they'll need to expedite the development of some of those guys and maybe thrust them into a little bigger roles than they expected.
Yeah, no question about it. And then speaking of roles, we now know he's enrolled, he's practicing. The thoughts about Demetrius Robertson and the potential impact at Auburn, because it seems as though that the new coaching staff, Coach Harsin and Cornelius Williams and those guys, wanted some experience in the room.
Yeah, there's no question about that. This was an important addition. I know some Auburn fans, you look back at what he did at Georgia over the past 3 years, and Robertson wasn't the best wide receiver on the field for the Bulldogs, but he was a quality number 2, number 3 option for them, and that's really all Auburn needed right now. He's got 99 career catches. That's more than quadruple what Auburn brings back from last season. So definitely that veteran in the room now. He's been playing college football since 2016. Dating back to then, he was the number one wide receiver recruit in the country. He's a 5-star prospect. And so something that Philip mentioned yesterday when I was talking to him is that, he hasn't shown that kind of production since he was a freshman at Cal. He was a freshman All-American, and then he had a leg injury. Really hasn't been the same player since then. But this is his third program. You never know when the light is just going to come back on for somebody. And we see it every year with transfers across the country. They remake a name for themselves. They were guys that people knew a while ago, and they kind of kickstart their careers back up. So, no, you're right. He got to campus on Sunday, had to finish up a few academic things at Georgia. Brian Harsin said he wanted everything buttoned up, didn't want any issues. And then Monday, when the rest of the team had the day off, he met with the coaching staff and talked about things. And then yesterday morning, he had his first morning of practice. And he looks quick. He looks like a guy who's been playing the SEC the last few years, and looks like a guy that's determined to contribute early for Auburn.
Yeah, well, he's probably going to have to contribute early, is he not? How much pressure is on him to come in and help elevate this wide receiving core?
So you're exactly right. He's a guy. That's exactly what Bo Nix said at SEC Media Days. We were talking to him about Robertson. He said, look, over these first few games, that's when he's going to be the most important, because this coaching staff is trying to be as logical and practical about their situation. Brian Harsin said it yesterday. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for consistency. Derek Mason said something similar in the previous day. So they understand that this receiving core, they'll go through fall camp and they'll improve, and they think they're better than they were in the spring. But this is still an extremely young and extremely inexperienced group, and they're not going to expect too much out of them the first couple games. Now, it is good, I think, for Auburn that they've got those 2 easier games before Penn State. You give yourself not an extended camp, but just a little bit extra time to work on your guys. While you're exactly right, you could lean on a guy like Robertson who's got that SEC experience. Maybe Bo Nix leans on the tight ends a little bit more in the first couple games while these receivers are still coming along. So wide receiver is going to be under the microscope every week at fall camp for Auburn. It's the most inexperienced position on the entire roster, and Brian Harsin has said it before. If they're not up to snuff this season, it's going to hold the whole offense back just because of what he's trying to run this year in that pro-style scheme. If his receivers aren't up to par, then the entire offense could suffer.
Well, and you mentioned up to par. If for our listeners, in your mind, who were the receivers to watch? I know Shedrick Jackson, the nephew of Bo Jackson, has spoken to the media. He's a former Hoover Buck. He's never played a huge role, but he is a senior. He's been one that was known as a really good blocker that could play without the ball. But as we're getting toward the season, we expect Robertson to be a part of it. But who are the receivers right now that everyone should look to kind of try to replace some of that production with Anthony Schwartz and Seth Williams and those guys?
Yeah, I would say for somebody like Seth Williams, that outside X receiver, Elijah Canyon has showed a lot in the past few months. He had that breakout performance in the bowl game, but somebody who had even more tread on them last season as a freshman was Xavier Capers, and he's someone that people have kind of forgotten about because he was injured. He was coming back from a foot injury in spring practice, and so he didn't participate, and people kind of forgot about him. But in terms of route running and, like you said, blocking ability, he was probably Auburn's best and most consistent freshman last season. So those are the two guys that I'm looking to lead this room in terms of returning players. Robertson will be important. You're going to need a replacement for Anthony Schwartz type, that kind of shorter receiver who can make some burn down the field. And Javarius Johnson, the Hewitt-Huntsville product, he had a really big spring, and he was a guy that probably had a better spring in terms of a breakout few weeks than anybody else on the offense, maybe anybody else on the entire team. Those are the three guys I would think if you're asking me who's going to start. A rotation of 3 or 4 receivers. It's probably Canyon, Capers, Javarius Johnson, and Demetrius Robertson right now. But they're deep. I was looking at the receivers room practicing the other day. There's a ton of players in it. They just haven't really done much on the field. So they'll have a lot to choose from. They'll have a lot to develop, but I think it'll fall on those guys, especially early in the season.
How's TJ Finley? I know there's a lot on Bo Nix, and we're talking a lot about Bo Nix and how he's going to develop and how camp is going. But how's TJ Finley fitting in?
Yeah, Finley looks like he's immediately been put into that backup quarterback role, and that shouldn't come as a huge surprise, I guess, to the people who saw the transfer and saw that he started at LSU last season. But Auburn's got a talented freshman on the roster, 4-star Demetrius Davis out of Houston. He's a guy that won more games than any other quarterback in Texas high school football history, even more than Kyler Murray. So he's got a little bit of a cachet to his name. and then also an experienced guy in Grant Loy, who's been on the roster for a couple years now. But it looks like Finley has been inserted now as that backup quarterback in the drills yesterday. He was doing everything right after Bo Nix or right beside Bo Nix in certain drills where the quarterbacks would throw together. And I had a bit of an epiphany at practice yesterday. I really do think Finley is the right guy for what Auburn has in its quarterback situation. You could just kind of tell between the two guys, Nix and Finley, yesterday. They were feeding off of each other. They wouldn't want to make a bad throw if the other one made a good one. You want to follow up and keep each other sharp. And I mean, they were both out there ripping it yesterday, and both looked really good. I think Finley's got a great touch on his deep ball, and he's obviously got great size. The ball zips out of his hands on those short passes. And then when you're talking about Bo Nix, his fundamentals continue to look better. That's one of the things the coaching staff has honed in on the most with him. So, you were talking about Nix coming back as the starter. Benefit of the doubt, 100% goes to him. There's little to no doubt in my mind that he'll be the starter in week one. Maybe later in the season we can have another discussion about that. But Finley's got it right now in terms of a good backup. I mean, the guy has 5 SEC games of starting experience at LSU, and I think this staff thinks he's got a pretty high ceiling. So I do think he's a really good complement to Nix right now, and he's pretty good for what they want in that room in terms of putting pressure on Bo for that starting job, even if it is just a tiny bit of pressure right now.
Well, and then, of course, we're talking to Nathan King, beat reporter for Auburn Undercover, part of the 24/7 Sports Network here on Talkin Ball, the Drew DeArmond and Scott Theisen. Then the offensive line, that's another huge topic. And the big thing that we keep hearing from Coach Harsin is cross-training.
Right. Like I said at practice yesterday, it was probably more, definitely in the double digits in terms of how many guys were playing multiple positions, considering we saw 5 of them do it in just a short window. You're talking about Brandon Council was playing right tackle after he was starting right guard at the beginning of last season. Brodarius Ham was kicking into right guard sometime after he was playing right tackle. Austin Troxell was getting a lot of reps. He's a 2.56 guy. He's getting reps at the starting left tackle position. Seems like he might have a little bit of an edge right now on Alec Jackson for that spot. Speaking of Alec Jackson, he was playing right tackle. So, I mean, they're really just mixing guys around and talking to Nick Brahms over the weekend about what that plan looks like and what Coach Friend wants to do. We talked about it earlier, but he said that they're not necessarily trying to rush this starting 5, but they do have a different approach than Gus Malzahn last season where, Gus was okay with continually rotating this lineup into the season. He wanted to find the best starting 5 even if he did it in week 5. Now, obviously, that became beneficial when they were hit with so many injuries because guys had experience, so it actually worked out pretty well for him. But Harsin and Will Friend and this offensive line, they want to get it figured out before the end of fall camp. Right now, they're figuring out each guy's skill sets. Will Friend wants to know exactly what he has at each position and with each guy. And once he does that, he's going to get rolling and put him in the spots that he wants and just kind of push through with that. I would expect that to be a couple weeks from now, 2 or 3 weeks from now. He's got to see him in scrimmage settings, stuff like that. But I do expect the starting 5 to be finished by the end of fall camp.
Yeah, you just mentioned it, scrimmage setting. They'll scrimmage for the first time on Saturday. Any expectations for the scrimmage?
Under the lights. Interesting.
Yeah, that's an interest. I mean, I know Auburn did scrimmage last fall in Jordan-Hare at night, but it wasn't their first scrimmage, and so honestly, that might be just to beat the heat. You guys were talking about the heat advisory.
Yeah.
I mean, I go stand out there and watch practice for 20 minutes. I'm not in pads and I'm not running around. It cannot be very pleasant right now. And you're talking about a guy from Brian Harsin who's coming from Idaho, so it's probably a bit of a shock to him right now, and a good bit of his staff is coming from there as well. But yeah, I mean, I'll be looking for offensive line. That's something you guys just said that is going to be a big point right now. But the coaching staff is having to shift its focus on defense to that defensive tackle spot. So we're going to need guys to come out and make an impact there. Tony Fair, like we talked about the UAB transfer, he's done a good job so far, but you're going to want to hear other names start to emerge and become competitive at that position. And so, they want all these starting spots ironed out by the end of fall camp. Obviously, everything is flexible, especially on defense. You don't really have 3 starters on the defensive line. You've probably got more like 5 or 6. But they do need to figure out that pecking order. The cream needs to rise to the top, and the scrimmage is going to be the best way to do that. So I'm excited to hear what we get from that.
Last few minutes with Nathan King. Nathan, I know we just briefly touched on it with Tony Fair, that he hasn't been there that long, the graduate transfer from UAB. But is he the favorite in your mind to replace Tyrone now?
He is, yeah. To me, at least on these early returns. Look, he's a guy that some of the talk coming in the summer, he's just 6'1", 330 pounds. He's probably a little bigger than 330. Some of the talk was whether he was in game shape. And it's interesting, kind of unsolicited. We didn't really ask about him being in game shape. But both Derek Mason, his defensive coordinator, and Derek Hall, a returning edge rusher, he's a junior, both talked about Tony Fair's size and that they were surprised with how well he was able to move. I can't remember exactly what Derek Hall said. It was something funny. He said it with a smile. He was like, well, I looked at him and he's pretty big. I didn't know, how well he was going to move. So he's a guy that definitely has that nose tackle size. Might be, in terms of just overall size, one of the biggest guys on Auburn's roster. But he's pushed through really good at the start of camp so far. They've got a lot of transfers along that defensive line, but very few of them are at defensive tackle. Tony Fair, really the only guy who's able to play that true nose tackle spot. There's really only a few guys on the roster that are able to play it. Lee Hunter, who's a freshman, J.J. Fekete, who moved over from tight end last season, are those guys that have the mold to play that true nose spot. So, no, Fair has been one of the most talked about guys so far, and to be honest, we haven't asked about him much. So guys are just kind of bringing it up on their own accord of how he's impressed in practice. But again, the scrimmage setting, and as we push forward this week and the next week, it'll be good to see how he continues to develop. But yes, he's the guy I think right now. Probably, if I had to, as a betting man, I would probably say he's got that spot right now. Yeah.
Really good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
The final comment I wanted to get out of you, Nathan, is it's interesting in your column. You pointed out, Scott and I have kind of talked about it being around Brian Harsin. He gives you a lot of insight, and these are not 10-second answers. He gives you a lot of sound bites. But what are the differences so far that you've been able to kind of observe between Coach Harsin's style and Gus?
Yeah, it's something that I wrote about yesterday. We've talked about it for a long time, even dating back to winter workouts all the way back in February. But that hands-on approach is big for him. He's somebody that was focusing on the wide receivers, start of practice, throwing passes to them, getting involved in those drills, playing a little defensive back, helping out the receivers, talking to them after every drill. He likes to get down with the quarterbacks. He runs some of the defensive drills with the big pads to be able to hit the guys. And so, somebody asked him about that yesterday and why he thinks, obviously he likes to do it, but why does he think that's successful for a team? And basically said it helps him figure out what his coaches do. If he can be down there with them and hear some of their terminology and understand how they're doing their jobs, and that not only allows him to have a deeper kind of understanding of how he can mesh better with his staff, but it also gives him a few pointers. He admits he's not a perfect coach. He might be able to take a little bit from some of his assistant coaches and improve on himself. And so that's the biggest difference so far. Sure, the press conferences, whatever, the answers are one thing, certainly much more long-winded than Gus Malzahn, but I will say I think that really is, and he said this yesterday, that really is just because he loves football, and I really don't think he cares much about anything else except for football. He's definitely a guy who's had that be at the forefront of his career, his entire life, and so he likes to just talk about it. He'll get going, and that's the biggest difference, I'd say, so far between him and Malzahn is what he's done on the field, because Malzahn was sort of that overseer at practice. Not necessarily a bad thing. Harson's isn't, better or worse. We'll have to see once the results get to the field, but Harsin definitely likes to be pretending like he's still that 22-year-old graduate assistant getting down there and running drills.
Great stuff,
yes,
Nathan,
good stuff.
Man. Great insight into Auburn fall camp. I know we'll be catching up with you again before Auburn takes the field in their opener against the Akron Zips to start the Brian Harsin era. But thanks for the time, and let everybody know to connect with you and the staff over at Auburn Undercover. We know you're going to have blowout coverage of the scrimmage coming up Saturday night.
Yeah, for sure. We're expecting some subscriber-only tidbits on that scrimmage. So if you're not a subscriber at auburnundercover.com, you can get your first month right now for only $1. So that covers you through the rest of fall camp and through the first couple games. Try it out, see if you like it. So auburnundercover.com, that's where you can find all our stuff this week and then all throughout fall camp and into the season.
Thank you, man.
Thanks.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a great day.
All right, Nathan King with us. Let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll digest that conversation and continue. And the phone line's open to you.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a report of smoke in the building at Mitchell Plastics on Highway 72. Got a lot of fire equipment headed for that one. Everything else looks pretty good this morning. You don't see any other stalls, wrecks, or traffic signal problems to cause you any headaches on the trip in. You be careful on your ride in this morning. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman is insurance accepted for sleep apnea and for snoring. It's an easy-to-use oral device, no mask, no hose. 350-CARE or RandallSandlin.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Brooks & Collier has always been about making the most of your outdoors. Our lush greenhouse and new furniture ideas will inspire you, but we're also about value. Our brands are so handsome, they'll make themselves comfortable inside or out, and so well made, they'll weather the weather for many years to come. Our staff can consult you on the right choices, and Lucy for sure can show us the sofa that's the most comfortable. Make the most of your outdoors. Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
Angie's List is now Angie. Summer is the perfect time to book your next home project. From lawn care to a new patio, Angie makes it simple to connect with pros who can get the job done right. See reviews, upfront pricing, and instantly book hundreds of projects. Plus, when you book and pay through Angie, we'll cover your project up to the full purchase price, plus limited damage protection with our Happiness Guarantee. Check out Angie.com, and for more on the Happiness Guarantee, go to Angie.com/happiness-guarantee.htm.
Orange is the color power of construction, the color of Kubota and Huntsville Tractor and Equipment. Those who need to get things done trust Kubota's mini excavators, compact track loaders, and the best keeps getting better with the all-new mini compact loader from one of the top dealers in the country. More than 50 years of family service, every part in the book, and folks who know what to do with them. You'll be seeing orange with Huntsville Tractor and Equipment.
Come on, let's go to work.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
All right, 7:51 on a Wednesday morning. Talked a lot of Auburn football there with Nathan King. Good conversation with him. Alabama back on the practice field yesterday as well. The Tide going through their 4th practice of what would be 27 before they take on Miami in Atlanta for that Chick-fil-A kickoff. That'll be a 2:30 kick on ABC, but you'll be able to hear that game right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
No doubt you will, and, it's an exciting time. A lot of Auburn fans are pumped up to see what Brian Harsin can bring to the table. Nathan King giving us some great insight, and then, of course, that'll be a big topic on our Monday show is the scrimmage buzz coming out of Alabama and Auburn. They'll both have their first ones on Saturday. Alabama's will be at the usual time, which is going to be 100 degrees. When it'll be 1 o'clock or thereabouts inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. And then Auburn will be under the lights, which is very interesting, as you heard Nathan say. They're scrimmage, and they will hear from Brian Harsin roughly after 8 o'clock on Saturday night. So we will start hearing from the first-year Auburn coach. So we're excited about that. We're excited to hear from Ben Troupe in the second hour of the show. Ben got his new book out. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk some SEC football. I've been a part of his show on SEC Coastal. They do a great job with 3 and Out, his radio program daily in the afternoons. Been with them about 3 times in the last few months. So been able to talk some football with Ben, and we've had him on several times, Scott.
Yep.
And he's someone we really enjoy talking football with. And for our listeners, just be aware, Ben Troupe going to join us about 8:25.
That comes up in the second hour. What is it? Hard Knocks kicked off.
Uh-oh.
Yesterday.
I heard Doug Nussmeier kind of took one on the chin from Dak. I haven't seen it yet.
But the whole conversation, though, has been around Jerry Jones and his salt.
Oh, yeah.
Because he eats these sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles from, McDonald's. We don't have to hide behind that. You know that's where they come from. But apparently Jerry Jones has a problem with salt when he puts salt on his sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle. Doesn't just put a little bit of salt on it. He shakes it about 7 times on his sausage and egg McGriddle. Now, everybody is piling on Jerry Jones for his salt intake. Apparently, one sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle, Drew, contains 1,290 milligrams of sodium. One shake of a salt shaker contains 39 milligrams of sodium. There was about 7 shakes before the camera cut away, so that comes out to 1,640 milligrams of salt that Jerry Jones consumes with one sausage, egg, McGriddle. Apparently, adults over 70 should have no more than 1,200 milligrams of sodium per day. So apparently, Jerry Jones, that is what was one of the biggest takeaways and what everybody is commenting on from the first episode of Hard Knocks. I have not watched it, but that is the biggest takeaway.
Well, he's a billionaire, so he can buy some McGriddles if he wants to. He can buy 1,000 of them.
But I think it's the amount of salt that he puts on himself.
I know that he just loves salt. That's great. There you go. Whatever floats your boat, man. He signs the checks. So I'd be more worried about getting Dak healthy myself than worrying about salt on a McGriddle here. But that's just me.
Anyway, the Dallas Cowboys are this year's Hard Knocks team on HBO. No more knock if you're with me. That became the rallying cry last year. Was it last year that we had Oakland? Okay. Or Las Vegas, I should say. Yes.
Knock on wood if you're with me.
Knock on wood if you're with me. That became last year's big theme. Now, apparently this year it's Jerry Jones and his salt and sausage and egg McGriddles. After just one episode. So we'll see how the world turns with that. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline if you want to get in on the show this morning. And I guess this does fit in with the theme of losing weight and everything. Because or diets and all that other stuff. Ole Miss transfer Jacquez Jones.
Uh-oh.
He is with the Kentucky Wildcats now.
Yes, he is. Inside linebacker. Their leading tackler last year for the Rebels, and now he's a Wildcat.
Well, Lane Kiffin has lost 30 pounds, right?
Yeah.
Jacquez Jones has lost. He has gone from 244 to 228. And here's his secret as to why he is losing weight.
Really, the COVID year messed me up. In Mississippi, they got good gas station food. So the fried chicken, it was cheap. So I think that really messed me up. But now I'm around 228, so what I played my sophomore year, and I feel great.
Gas station fried chicken from the former Hillcrest Patriot.
That is the reason why he is down from 244 to 228. He will be he'll help anchor that Kentucky side of the ball.
Yeah,
and
he should
no
be an
doubt,
impact player for them. Great job by John Summerall to get him out of the portal.
Right.
Everyone knows what we think of the former Grissom Tiger standout, and of course linebacker himself under Rich Brooks. But he's the co-defensive coordinator for Mark Stoops. Coach Stoops had a lot of glowing things to say about him when we asked about him at SEC Media Days. And, we've had Coach on many times. So I hope we can get him on maybe even before the season. But I would love to catch up with Coach and talk some Kentucky football.
All right, that's going to do it for hour number 1 here on Talking Ball. When we come back, hour number 2, Greg Sankey issues a statement as far as COVID-19 goes. We've got to get to that. The Atlanta Braves are staying hot, and they get a reinforcement back in the lineup today. We'll fill you in. Plus, we're going to get to your phone calls in hour number 2, and then Ben Troupe will kick us off at hour number 2. At some point, we'll hear from Ben Troupe as well. All that and more coming up in the next 60 minutes.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a report of smoke in the building at Mitchell Plastics on Highway 72. Got a lot of fire equipment headed for that one. Everything else looks pretty good this morning. You don't see any other stalls, wrecks, or traffic signal problems to cause you any headaches on the trip in. You be careful on your ride in this morning. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman is insurance accepted for sleep apnea and for snoring. It's an easy-to-use oral device, no mask, no hose. 350-CARE or RandallSandlin.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the WZDX Pinpoint Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A warm afternoon across North Alabama, southern and middle Tennessee. Air temperatures climbing into the low and mid-90s this afternoon. That's actually right where we should be, but it is going to feel a lot hotter because dew points are going to be in the low and mid-70s. We do get to enjoy a fair amount of sunshine this afternoon, but an isolated, widely scattered shower or thunderstorm is going to be possible. That chance drops pretty significantly by the time we get to the middle part of the evening. We'll stay warm through the overnight, temperatures only dropping into the low and mid-70s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
The preseason college football poll was released Tuesday with Alabama the top-ranked team, followed by Clemson, Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Georgia rounding out the top 5. The Crimson tied the favorite to win another national title in 2021 at plus 260, Clemson at plus 400, Ohio State plus 600. Tonight, the Atlanta Braves a slight favorite against the Cincinnati Reds. The Braves at minus 115, Cincinnati at minus 105 on the money line, the over-under 9.5. The Wyndham Championship underway today. Webb Simpson enters entering as the odds-on favorite, plus 1,200. Hideki Matsuyama at plus 1,400. Louis Oosthuizen at plus 1,800. Patrick Reed plus 2,200. And Brian Harmon plus 2,800.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It is hour 2 of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We are underway. Phone lines are open to you, 256-576-4977. That's the number of the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We want to hear from you on this Wednesday morning. 78 degrees. Once again, heat advisory set for today, so please be careful if you are doing anything outside. And I mentioned Greg Sankey, Drew, in hour number 1, and I'm sure you probably saw this as well on Twitter yesterday. Greg Sankey going through Twitter. And he made reference to the fact that 1 year ago, August 10th, 2020, he did this yesterday, and he put, amidst the uncertainty of COVID-19, other conferences were announcing decisions to cancel fall seasons. In the SEC, we issued a statement saying, can we play? I don't know. We haven't stopped trying, and we will continue to do so every day. That was last year. We all know what happened. He's making reference to the Big Ten, the Pac-12 canceling their seasons and deciding not to play and then later changing course, obviously. But Greg Sankey went on to say that here we are 1 year later, we've learned to manage through this environment, but we do not have control of the COVID realities around us. COVID rates are the highest we've seen in months. Hospitalization rates continue to increase, and the Delta variant is real. In preparation for this season, SEC teams are well above the rates of general population as far as vaccinations go. The teams are leading the way and have asked questions, heard directly from medical experts, and assessed the COVID vaccine throughout the spring and summer. He says then, Drew, we know nothing is perfect, but the availability and efficacy of COVID-19 vaccines is an incredible product of science, not a political football. And we all need to do our part to support a healthy society like the SEC a year ago. Will you now try with us to return towards normal? So Greg Sankey making a pitch for everybody to get vaccinated because basically the football is at the goal line and we need to get it across.
Well, yeah. I mean, and again, it's a choice for everyone out there. But you and I are both vaccinated, have been since the spring, and we all want some normalcy. We all want to be able to watch college football in full stadiums and full press boxes and be a part of it. Last year we were still very fortunate to have it, period, but it's still, there was something missing without the stands being full and just those loud, raucous environments, and that's what we want to get back to.
Right.
And for most of the spring, we've seen it in Major League Baseball. They've gone back to full capacity since early in the season, and it's been nice. And we would like to see the same thing in the fall. There's no utopias. We know that COVID is going to be something that's looming. But I still say if you do get vaccinated, it will help you. It helps with the symptoms. I understand you can still get it again, okay? But I still think it helps. If you have been vaccinated, I do think that they are getting the more under control as things go on. But again, we all just want things to return to normal. You've heard the coaches and the players talk about how their biggest regret last year is not having full stands and being able to have the kind of environments they're accustomed to. And we hope that we can go back to that sense of normalcy this fall.
All right, 256-576-4977. Thoughts on Greg Sankey's comments yesterday as far as the SEC and vaccinations and everything goes in relation to the COVID-19 and the start of the SEC football season. So that's, again, 256-576-4977. During the first hour, we did talk about the coaches poll that came out. In case you missed it, Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Oklahoma 3, Ohio State 4, Georgia 5, Texas A&M in there at 6, Florida 11, LSU 13. Alabama's opening day opponent, Miami, is in at number 16, followed by Ole Miss in at number 25. So you can comment on the coaches poll if you so choose. But right now, let's turn our attention to a little baseball. The Atlanta Braves, Drew, get a win over Cincinnati yesterday to kick off that series. That means Philadelphia, which lost to the Dodgers yesterday, now just one game back of the Phillies for the top spot in the NL East. 59-54 is the Phillies, 58 up, 55 down for the Braves. Just one game back of the top spot in the NL East, and it gets even better if you're a Braves fan because Travis d'Arnaud will be back in the lineup today.
Yeah, the catcher who had the unfortunate injury. I believe he had a hand injury that has kept him out, Scott, for several months now. He was a huge part of the offense last year when the Braves nearly went to the World Series. It's been well documented. I think the Braves have been through about 7 catchers. And now I would think that the move would be Kevin Smith would probably be moving on, who, of course, they had gotten from the Tampa Bay Rays. Stephen Vogt, I would be my guess is that he will be in a backup role to Travis d'Arnaud. But Travis, if he's healthy, is an offensive upgrade. Really did a nice job as an all-around catcher for the Braves a year ago. Had gotten off to kind of a slow start this year, but again, hopefully he can get back in the lineup, and he and Vogt can be a really nice combination going forward.
Now, d'Arnaud could have been in the lineup yesterday for the Braves, but Atlanta elected to keep him with the AAA Gwinnett team for one more day because they wanted him to catch Ian Anderson. Ian Anderson making another start yesterday for AAA Gwinnett. Things seem to be going well for Ian Anderson to get back into that rotation possibly as well. Here is manager Brian Snitker after the game yesterday against Cincinnati, a 3-2 win on the fact since the trade deadline, this lineup is a lot deeper.
You know, what we've talked about, it's since some additions is just lengthening our lineup. And you don't get 2 better at bats than those 2 left-handers off a really tough left-handed reliever. And, it's like we've talked, a deeper lineup, that's for sure.
And that deeper lineup paying dividends in the second half of the season.
No question. It looks a lot different than it did even a month ago when you've got Jorge Soler and his Thunder in the lineup, and another 2-run homer from Adam Duvall last night, who's been a huge addition in that trade for when they traded Jackson, the young catcher, to get Duvall back from the Miami Marlins. So that's been a big addition, no doubt, and of just Jock Peterson. I think he really, when they got him from the Cubs, when the Cubs started their fire sale, he's been really good in either right or center field, and been someone who's even swung the bat well against lefties. So they traded Alex Jackson for Duvall to get him. They got Soler. They got a lot more Thunder in the lineup. And again, you might see some strikeouts, but if they get a hold of one, and there's always that possibility, their run production is a lot better. It helps protect Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, and Dansby Swanson has arguably been their best hitter since the All-Star break.
All right, so once again, the Atlanta Braves just one game out of first place with the Philadelphia Phillies. You'll be able to hear that game today after the drive. They are a season high 3 games over 500. They've won 6 of their last 7, and they've also won 10 of the last 11 Drew Smiley starts. So anytime he is on the mound, that is a good thing.
And I have to eat
for the Atlanta Braves,
because I called him the most disastrous free agent signing in baseball to start the season. It was awful, but he's turned it around, and that's what it is. Baseball is a marathon, not a sprint.
That is true. The Braves are clearly proving that.
Yeah, and so they are really getting a lot better, and there's no doubt about it. And hopefully the bullpen will continue to, I guess, stabilize. I know they just released Shane Green, or put him up, designated him for assignment, and they're bringing A.J. Minter back up from AAA. Minter has been up and down this year, but he does have great stuff, another lefty in the bullpen. And I just thought Shane Green overall, the more I saw him, his stuff has just been underwhelming. I just don't think he'd been that good for Atlanta, and that's why they're deciding to move on from him. And because Oscar Yanoa is going to be, he's the next one to be coming off of the disabled list too. So I doubt he'll be in the rotation, even though he was throwing really well before that. He might be. We'll just have to wait and see. But he would definitely be put back in that bullpen, probably, and given some long relief opportunities to see where he is, trying to get back on the horse there.
All right, 256-576-4977. You can get in on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. On Facebook, Spencer commenting on the preseason coaches poll, saying LSU was barely a 500 team last year. How did they crack the top 15?
Talent. I think it's overall talent, and I think it's what you saw how they ended the season. They beat a couple of teams ranked in the top 25. Florida on the road, and then Ole Miss. And, and they've got some talented players, and I think Max Johnson and the way he played down the stretch, even with the injury to Miles Brennan and kind of taking the air out of that quarterback race, I think they believe with Keyshawn Butte, John Emery, Tyron Davis-Price, they think they have some talent, and that they're going to be good and they're going to bounce back, and they couldn't possibly be any worse defensively. They have to improve. With Deontay Jones calling the signals now.
Well, the fact that Ed Orgeron actually interviewed this coordinator, or interviewed coordinators, is a good sign.
I mean, I'm telling you guys, if you want to watch some good stuff, whether it's win or losing, after ball games, check out the YouTube show with and post game with Matt Moscona, our great friend, and Jordy Collada. That is must see.
Better than what we have in Knoxville.
Well, about the same. Just an East and a West version. Except Jordy and Matt, they indulge in some adult beverages and some cigars, and they just spitball and talk about the game.
Our friend in Knoxville does beverages too.
He'll do that on the radio. Yeah, he'll because he puts it on Periscope, so you can sit there and watch Tone, our good friend Tony Basilio, every now and then have some whiskey or some brown liquor, as he's had to talk about Tennessee taking many a welt on the head the last few years with his post-game show. Yes.
All right, so obviously the pundits are weighing in on overrated, underrated in the preseason coaches poll, and we dabbed a little bit on it in the first hour. Obviously, we broke down Coastal Carolina and Louisiana with Billy Napier and Coach Chadwell there at Coastal Carolina. But some of the bigger teams that a lot of people have problems with right now is the fact that, number one, Texas is checking in at number 19. They're saying Texas comes in right now overrated in this preseason coaches poll.
We don't know yet. I mean, I could agree with that. I mean, Coach Sark, this will be year one. And, he's got some transfers like a Keelan Robinson from Alabama, who he's going to be trying to, acclimate to his program. You have to replace Sam Ellinger, who was, won a lot of games at Texas and threw for a lot of yards, was very, very productive. But you got a different style of offense. Defensively, you made a lot of changes. So they're kind of a mystery team to me going into year one.
The other one that they're saying overrated is at number 14, and that is USC and Clay Helton.
I'm not believing in anybody coming out of the Pac-12. Sorry. I mean, I just don't. I mean,
Oregon is number 12, USC at number 14. Are they that close to each other?
If I was going to hide strap my wagon to somebody, it would be Oregon and Mario
Right.
Cristobal. I think they have more talent, and I think they have a better coaching staff. But I'm not buying into what they'll have to show me first, especially USC, which has largely been mediocre, and then, as you know, avoided an epic beatdown because of the what happened with COVID and restructuring the schedules last year. They did not have to play Alabama and get shellacked. Hey, you know what? I think COVID may have actually saved, Clay Helton's job because, they had played Alabama back at the start of the 2016 season. Scott,
right.
And you remember what happened there. It was, oh, my Lord. It was
not
Jalen
pretty.
Hurts' first game. It was another half 100 laid there by Alabama on USC, and it was just a shellacking. And USC, I think they had a hard time recovering from that for the rest of the year. So Helton has had some success there, but he's somebody now that COVID is hopefully being put in the rearview mirror. They're going to have to really get better.
Yeah, there's two teams here that they say underrated. And before I get to that, I mean, I just have a hard time believing that USC is that close to Oregon, and Oregon is 12. USC is they put them at 14. I just don't see how well the Pac-12 can play. Nobody excites me right now in the Pac-12. I mean, the biggest story right now in the Pac-12 is that of the recruiting violations for Arizona State. Yeah. That is the biggest conversation in the Pac-12. Not can they get a team into the playoffs. It's how many assistant coaches are now out for Arizona State, which, by the way, is 3. But that is the biggest headline right now for the U.S. for the Pac-12 as a conference.
And it's sad because it's taken away from what Arizona State and our good friend Herman Edwards, who I love Herman, what he's been doing on the college level and turning them around. But these violations and what happened during the COVID shutdown and what they're being investigated for has taken all that momentum kind of away from them. When it looked like, and they need Arizona State to be good, it looked like they were going to have another program that was viable there and perhaps to be a championship contender.
Now, the two teams that the national pundits are saying come in underrated is number 1, Oklahoma, which, by the way, did get 2 first-place votes. At number 3, I don't know how you can put them underrated unless you put them at number 2 ahead of Clemson. And then LSU at number 13, a team we just talked about on how they got to be number 13 and why they were so high. Those are the two teams they say, hey, we think they're underrated at the beginning of the year.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I think when you look at Eric Gray and Wanye Morris and the transfers that Oklahoma's been able to take out of the portal,
right?
I think they got a chance to be really good. It's going to come down to how much better are they on defense. They really have been making some strides in a couple years under Alex Grinch. Are they going to continue to do that? We all, I think, believe this is their swan song in the Big 12. They're trying to win, I think, their 7th straight conference championship. I think they're a big favorite, even though I do like Matt Campbell in Iowa State. I like them better than Steve Sarkisian in Texas. But I do think if you look at OU and Spencer Rattler and that offense, the OEs, they've got a chance to be really good. And they've got. And
would you like Clemson or Oklahoma better? Which one would you?
I would.
If they were playing each other, which one would you take, Clemson or Oklahoma?
I would probably take OU because I think they've got more proven offensive linemen back.
Right.
And I like Gray a lot. I think he was underrated at Tennessee. I think Rattler's going to be much better in his second full year as a starter. I like their offensive skill players. I don't know enough about them defensively yet, even though I know they feel like their pass rush is a lot better. But I think I would probably take Oklahoma slightly over Clemson right now.
All right. Well, I wonder what our next guest would think about that, who he thinks is overrated, underrated in the top polls. Who does he like in the SEC? And, oh, by the way, he's written a book as well.
He really has. Ben Troupe from ESPN Coastal, 3 and Out. That you hear each and every weekday, Monday through Friday, on that great radio station out of the Savannah, Georgia area. We're going to talk to Ben Troupe next. Talk some college football and his new book about his life and times as a professional athlete and a college standout.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck on 565 eastbound. It's going to be between the Jordan Governor's exit and the Triana Boulevard overpass, right about mile marker 17. Got one northbound on the parkway near Bob Wallace. It's going to turn out to be a no injury. University and Jordan's in the middle of the intersection. It's also a no injury. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Greg lost 92 pounds in 6 months on the plan. A free hormone quiz will tell you if it can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food, from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat-and-free meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. And you can enjoy $50 worth of delicious Bubby's Diner food for half price with this week's Zone Deal. On sale now online at 977ESPN.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Never mind fall and football being in the air. We want to taste it.
And never mind not being able to tailgate at the game. Let's create the ultimate barbecue experience in your own backyard.
You said it, Foster Brooks. And that's where Brooks & Collier comes in. Big selection of outdoor furniture.
And a big selection of grills and smokers like Traeger, Big Green Egg, Blaze, even DCS, and more.
This is the good stuff.
And Paul, we definitely got the accessories. And remember, we deliver. Visit us at 813 Meridian Street and shop online at brooksandcollier.com.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed precision overhead garage door service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked the reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Chad, cue the cheesy Italian music. So you're in charge of the dinner spot, and the family is a hard group to please. Dad wants award-winning 21-day-age certified Angus beef. Mom craves authentic Italian food like great-grandma. Sissy pretty much won't eat anything but fresh seafood. And old life of the party, Uncle Walter, likes to enjoy a cigar after dinner with some live local entertainment and some killer cocktails. So you think you're in a pickle? Well, you're not. Relax. I'm Tom Chapman, chef at Nick's Ristorante at 10300 Bailey Cove Road, just south of Weatherly. We have all that and more. Our friendly and helpful staff is eager to help you Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 5. So, corral that crazy crew of yours and give us a call at 256-489-8280 or tell them to check us out at nicksristorante.com. I promise you, the gang will all think you're a culinary cruise director of awesomeness if you take them all to Nick's. See you soon. Ciao. Okay, Chad, kill that music.
Nick's is for patrons 19 or older.
He's bald, he's opinionated, and he's here.
You're morally reprehensible, vulgar, insensitive, selfish, stupid. You have no taste, a lousy sense of humor, and you smell.
Listen to Feinbaum, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Coming up next, it's the Tom Abraham Show with me, Tom Abraham. Now back to more Talkin Ball with Scott and Drew.
Welcome back, 8:25 on the dot here at the Rocket City, Huntsville, Alabama, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you until 9 a.m. Time for us to bring in our final guest of the morning. Should be a good conversation because we got to talk some SEC football. We got to possibly slip in an NFL question here and there. And we got to talk about books.
Yeah, we do. And he's got a new book out. He had an outstanding college and NFL career. And he's been a long-time fixture, too, on Pigskin Radio. And they are from 3 to 6 Eastern time each Monday through Friday. I've been a part of that show on multiple occasions. Been an honor to be a part of it over on ESPN Coastal. But you need to go to BenTroupe84.com, and he's got in pre-order his new book, Uncommon and Unfinished, the Ben Troupe story. And, of course, that is Ben Troupe. And we always enjoy catching up with him on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline because it's football time now as we're going to have college and NFL football right around the corner. And we're going to talk to Ben today. Ben, you're back in Huntsville with Drew and Scott. Good morning. How are you?
Man, it's always good to be on with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ben does a lot of motivational speaking as well. Ben, as we delve right into it, for our listeners who are tuning in, tell them your thought process behind kind of trying to tell your story and putting this book out.
Oh, man. First and foremost, I appreciate B.J. Bennett. Obviously, he co-wrote the book with me. Obviously, one of the co-hosts on the show with Three and Out and Kevin Thomas. But I met B.J. about 2008, 2009, and he kind of introduced radio to me. And then, just getting to know each other, working around each other, and finally working with each other officially in 2017. We had been talking about the book way back when, but wives and kids and lives and bills get in the way. So you really don't have the time to really put forth the effort it's going to take to be able to do a project like this. And then obviously in 2020, everything got shut down, and it kind of gave us a chance to really focus on what we had to do because we was like, well, dude, we're not going to get this much downtime probably ever again. So we kind of got focused, got off that procrastination thing that we do really well in life, and was able to really put it together. Timothy Bond of Troupe Publishing really came in and really told me the ropes. Because I'm not one of those people that, care about the glitz and the glamour of things. I wasn't trying to go with a big-time publishing company so I can look more than what I am. I felt as though it was important for me to be able to say thank you to so many people, places, and things that helped me become who I become. I'm the one always, where's Ben at? You want to take some pictures. You want the autographs. And there's always people to the, on the sideline hearing from me, those being my families and friends. So this is my way to tell them I appreciate y'all. People get caught up in the Ben Troupe story side of the title, but the uncommon unfinished is what you really should focus on because there are going to be people in this book that's going to be reading and thinking it's going to be about me, and their names going to be popping up. So I'm just looking forward to so many people who I get a chance to say thank you to. I feel like I compare my book to like a Quentin Tarantino film, man. You have no clue what's going to be in this thing, man.
How much of the Florida? Obviously, a lot of the book on your Florida days.
It's obviously it's a lot because it grew me. It showed me so much from Steve Spurrier to Ron Zook, from coming in to being a part of the number one recruiting class in 2000 with guys like Brock Berlin, to go from playing with him and Rex Grossman and Chris Leak. I played on the same team as Thaddeus Bullock. Thaddeus Bullock, his stage name is Titus O'Neil. He's the big-time wrestler. So I played on the same team with him. So it's going to be stuff like that. And obviously, the life lessons. I mean, the things I'm doing now as far as like philanthropy, humanitarian work, volunteer work, and speaking, that came when Ron Zook got there. See, so a lot of the things that I'm doing got groomed when I was in Gainesville. I always say Steve Spurrier was the coach that I chose. Ron Zook was the coach that I needed. So I needed both of them as far as like what I needed to become the man I am today. But, man, it's going to be good, man. I think what happens is I wrote the book from a place of vulnerability. I ain't trying to make myself look good. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. There's a lot of things. I mean, the relationship between me and my father and becoming a father and transitioning from the NFL. So it's going to be a lot, man. Hopefully people will be able to go on this journey with me, man. But I'm really, really excited and really, really blessed and humbled to be able to finish a project like that.
And, Ben, we know, of course, you go to BenTroupe84.com to order it. When will this book be out? I know it's going to be in the very near future, I'm sure.
Yeah, it should be out around like the 21st of September.
Nice.
I think it's going to be available. It's going to be available everywhere books are sold. It's too many places to name it. What was crazy was my daughter just recently had a birthday, and I'm sitting up in the middle of the night, can't sleep. So I just type in my book. I'm saying, let me just type, and this thing was popping up in places that I didn't even know it was being sold at. So it's fun, man, because at the end of the day, I think I do represent two. I think I do represent two avenues. One from the athlete side, and two from the former athlete side. And I think I get to show people, man, I'm having more fun on this side than I ever thought I would, because people think, oh, man, what am I going to replace football with? Well, that's all I've ever done. And I'm telling you, I ain't Michael Strahan, I ain't Nate Burleson, I ain't Shannon Sharp, but I guarantee you I'm having just as much fun away from football as those guys are.
Well, I got to ask you, I want to ask more questions about the book, but I also want to ask you, and you brought up Steve Spurrier and Ron Zook. The way and the climate of college football today, the one-time transfer rule and everybody bouncing, or I should say not everybody, athletes bouncing around, would you have considered transferring from Florida in between those coaching changes between Spurrier and Zook if the climate was of today in college football?
Absolutely. I'm not going to say I wouldn't. I mean, when Ron Zook first got there, what was crazy, most of the time, I'm going from arguably the biggest coach, not named Bobby Bowden, and may he rest in peace as well. I didn't know anything about Ron Zook. So we staring at each other the same way. He's looking at me like, who is this? And I'm looking at him like, who are you? Because I don't know who Ron Zook is, and obviously I was there for 2 years already. But looking at the climate now, name and image likeness, it's all about trying to take full advantage of the time that you have now. Because let's face it, certain guys, your biggest years of your life may be the 4 to 5 years you spend in college. So would I have stayed with the climate being what? I don't want to give it a definitive yes. I would say maybe. But then again, it just depends, because the one thing that got me at Florida is the same thing that's getting guys at these big-time schools now. It's these coaches first. People are like, it's the program. No, it's not. It's the head coach. It's Dabo. It's Kirby. It's Jimbo. You know what I'm saying? It's Dan. It's Lincoln Riley. So, yeah, you want to go to a place. One, I want the big-time head coach that has instant credibility, the big-time program that's going to get me that exposure, and hopefully my play garner me, the level of attention I'm going to need from these NFL scouts. But, yeah, man, if this is 2021 and I'm coming out now, who knows, man? I might not have a Florida future for 4 years. It might be 2 years and moving on, because it's just a total different landscape that we're in there.
I got to ask you real fast, what was the pitch that Steve Spurrier gave to you for you to be a Florida Gator?
So when I'm coming up, I'm from Swainsboro, Georgia, a little small town in Georgia, but I graduated high school in Augusta, Georgia. So I went from the most prestigious high school there, because it's the only thing there, to going to a place where there's 14 high schools. So when it comes to the recruiting aspect, I didn't know what recruiting was. I'm not even going to lie. So when I'm getting recruited like real big, I'm thinking, what in the world is going on? Because my high school wasn't making playoff games, wasn't competing for championships. We were the homecoming team. Like, people would literally play. I played in more homecomings away, than I ever seen in my life, because we just weren't a good team. But at the same time, when Spurrier came to my house, I got a cousin that's like 10 years older than me, and he told me, he said, when Spurrier come to your house, do not tell him no. Now, mind you, I'm thinking, why would Steve Spurrier come to my house? Because, like I said, I don't know about recruiting. So when he came to my house, I'm just remembering my lines. I really am. I'm sitting there because I'm 17 years old. That is Steve Spurrier. And I'm like, dude. And the thing was, so you got two assistant coaches. They go through the spiel, get the best of both worlds, being academically, sports-wise, great town like Gainesville. So Spurrier, he looks like he's nodding off. Like, cause he's heard this spiel 100 times, and somebody kind of nudges. And he looks up, and he says, all he says, Benny, you going to be with us? I go, yes, sir. They get up and leave. That's it. There was he wasn't selling nothing to me. So when my cousin, I go to my grandma's house in Vidalia, Georgia. My cousin sees me. He said, "Did Spurrier come to your house?" He goes, "Yeah." What did you say? I told him yes. And that was it. Like, that was literally, now obviously I went through the full recruiting cycle of Clemson, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. I obviously came down to Florida and Georgia, but it was Jim Donnan versus Steve Spurrier. Come on, man. I like Jim Donnan, but there was no competition between Jim Donnan and Steve Spurrier. And being in the media now, and Steve Spurrier still being a part of my life, because I'm not Shane Matthews, I'm not Danny Wolfram, I'm not Rex Grossman, I'm not helping him with QBRs, making sure he get Coach of the Year. I'm a tight end, but he still acknowledges me now. He still calls me Benny. To this day, he won't call me Ben. And he said the reason why, he said the world calls you Ben, he said family calls you Benny, so I consider you family. So that's what he does. I mean, the dude is still a rock star, man. He just got a brand new freaking restaurant in Gainesville. I mean, Steve Spurrier is Benjamin Button. He is aging backwards. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's doing it. But, yeah, man, I mean, Spurrier was the man, and I'm happy I made that decision, because you don't realize how legendary of a coach you coach for until later on down the line. But Hey man, we was the reason. I was part of the last two teams. He coached at Florida. People like, Ben, you guys ran Spurrier out of Florida. I say no. Dan Snyder, 5 years, $25 million.
Exactly.
Ran him out of Florida. That's how he got up out of that.
Yeah, Coach Spurrier decided to leave Florida. But I've got to ask you, Ben, too. You kind of mentioned it in the conversation, but what are your thoughts overall on name, image, and likeness? I get that I'm in favor of it. I get it seems as though that you are as well.
I am, because I think it changes the dynamic. The one thing that people don't really understand about college athletes is most of us are the same. Color doesn't matter. Gender doesn't matter. We coming from similar situations. So what happens is when the term financial literacy is something that most people will never, ever have. The NFL is why most football players come to college. They come to college with a dream of going to the NFL and less than 1% go. Well, I still got a family at home that's coming from the same dire situations that I just left. They still there. So if I'm able to benefit off what I'm doing, I'm learning how to foster relationships. I'm learning how to nurture those relationships with these people, business partners. So I still want to go to the NFL. Make no mistake about it. But it's not the end all, be all. And I might stay in college longer. So you're talking about people coming out early, they'll stay in college longer because they understand that, oh, okay, I can make a little something. And when the NFL becomes less of my end all, be all, it makes my college experience, greater, because it's a lot of stress in college, man, especially when you got these big-time recruits coming out, 5 stars, and you may have only 1 or 2 years to go out there and prove what you can prove, and they're trying to move on to the next, set of players. So I think that by being able to benefit, it does more than just be able to help you make money. You get to understand money. You get to understand what money really does, and hopefully you can start building on your future. Because, like I said, less than 1% make it to the pros, and that's going to be 250-something guys. So I do think the name NIL, people going to like it and dislike it, but I do think it's a step in the right direction, and I think that the women athletes are going to benefit far more than the guys.
Interesting.
Your Florida Gators got the best of Georgia last year in the SEC East. Do they have it this year in them?
I mean, are they under the radar? I mean, I know they've got a lot of offensive production like Alabama to replace, but Dan Mullen is a quarterback whisperer. We've been waiting to kind of see what, this offense. But we didn't get a chance to see a lot, Ben, because no spring game, kind of everything under wraps.
We're going to learn a lot about Dan Mullen this year. And I know Dan Mullen, right now on his resume, he got Tim Tebow, he got Dak Prescott, he got Nick Fitzgerald, he got Kyle Trask, he got Felipe Franks. Well, Emory Jones is going to have to be the one, because I think when you start thinking about Emory Jones, he's just as athletic, as if not more than that. I know he's faster than Tim Tebow and Nick Fitzgerald, and we're going to see what type of arm he got, because so much about college football is about, the personnel. Kyle Trask was a Heisman Trophy finalist last year, and people act like it didn't even happen. They'll say, oh, well, he had Kyle Pitts, oh, he had Kadarius Toney. Okay, but at the same time, that just shows you how much, this guy has really developed. I think for me, Emory Jones did not get in the transfer portal. I mean, he's been there for 3 years already, so this is his 4th year. He's finally getting a start. I think he's going to be the guy. I think he's going to be way better than people give him credit for. Not going to be lighting up the box scores with 350 yards passing, but I don't think he needs to do that to be efficient. But, yeah, it's like this every year, man. I'm from the great state of Georgia, and Georgia is the biggest brand in Georgia. Georgia's going to win the national championship every year. I mean, Georgia, they added Eric Gilbert, they added Darian Kendrick. I mean, they're going to win it all, right? But this is the thing. Georgia got to play Clemson. They got to play Auburn. They got to play Florida. It's going, and the consolation prize of doing that is playing Alabama. So if they're going to win it, they will earn it this year. I'm telling you, if any other year. So I think Florida, for me, they got to go out there and prove it. I mean, Florida gave up 14 points to Georgia last year, and a lot of those guys that was out there last year are coming back this year for Florida. So we'll see. That's why you go out there and play. And every year I played against Georgia, they were supposed to beat us too, right? And so it just happens like that right now. Dan Mullen is a better coach. Kirby Smart is a better recruiter. We will see if who is developing his players the most, because if Dan Mullen can find a way to beat Georgia this year, Kirby Smart will be on the hot seat come 2022, no matter what nobody tells you.
Well, and Ben, I've got to ask you too. The key, though, is going to be that defense for the Gators. It wasn't very good last year. Can Todd Grantham, can they bounce back? I know they've added more guys from the transfer portal, including Daquan Newkirk from Auburn. What is your thoughts defensively on Florida going into 2021?
Get lined up and just get back to the basics. See, sometimes people want to have all these, look at these exotic defenses. Yeah, well, they snapping the ball when guys are trying to get lined up, and then guys aren't able to be out there and go out there and play. I think that Kyer Elam, I think he is big time. I mean, obviously, Derek Stingley Jr. is the number one cornerback in the country. I would have Kyer Elam top 5. We're going to see if Zachary Carter coming back is really going to pay dividends. Ventrell Miller and Trey Dean, you got players. You got to go out there and execute. Ty Grantham, people always say his best year with any defense he has his first year. Right? And then it kind of tapers off every year after that because he gets very, very predictable. Let the guys line up. Let the guys go out there and play football because all they're trying to get cute stuff and you end up losing games. I mean, last year, it was rough. I mean, if Kyle Pitts don't have 27 touchdowns against Ole Miss, we lose the first game of the year because you can't stop them. You just couldn't stop them. So for me, Ty Grantham has something to prove. Dan Muller got something to prove, but that defense, they're going to have to get lined up. I can't accept a defensive coordinator in a post-game press conference say, yeah, guys can get lined up. How old are we, man? This is big-time football, and we can't get lined up. That can't be an excuse this year because that SEC, man, I know people say the East going to be down this year. You might want to watch Mizzou. I think Kentucky's going to be better, and you just don't know what to expect from South Carolina. Florida better be ready, man, because them guys going to be coming for them.
Uncommon and Unfinished, the Ben Troupe story. Ben Troupe joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. That's the name of the book. Ben, as we delve back into the book real fast, every author usually, when you write a book, there's always that personal side, the stories that are in this book. How deep do you go personally in this book?
Oh, I go as deep as I can because the reason, and that's why I said I wrote the book from a place of vulnerability. I wasn't trying to make myself look good. I mean, my children are gonna read this book, so I don't, and they know how daddy is now. That's not how daddy used to be. So I don't want to be painting myself as something that I wasn't. Me and my father did not have the best relationship when I was growing up. It took me, as a fully grown man to really grasp, the bond we have now is inseparable. So I'm talking about that thing. I'm talking about the parallels between my life is trying to find who I was. My daddy trying to find who he was. My mama raising me and my brothers and sisters by herself. My father having a drug addiction, me having a isolation addiction. It's just a lot of things. And I encompass all this stuff in 213 pages. This thing could have been 1,500 pages, but then I wanted my publisher to publish it. I don't want him to be like, Ben, I can't do this. You're gonna have to get your own publishing company for all these pages. But we did it. And the one thing I appreciate the most about this thing is I'm telling the truth. I'm not telling some of the truth. I'm not trying to fabricate nothing. It is the truth up in these pages because I may never write another book. And if I don't, I am super duper proud of this because like I said, I think my story is encompassed with a lot of other people's stories. My daddy may never write a book, so let me tell his story. My mama may never write a book, so let me tell hers. My sister and brother may never write one, so let me tell theirs. That's what I'm doing in this book is telling the truth about everything that has to do with me, and I'm proud of it. It's gonna be some people saying, "What in the world?" Not because I'm not demonizing nobody in this book outside of myself, because this is my therapy, man, and I'm so happy that it's done. This thing, listen to all my English teachers and English professors. I apologize to y'all. These subjects and these predicates and these interrogative statements. I didn't get it, but I get it now. So to every editor out there for a newspaper or English teacher or a teacher's aide. Congratulations to y'all. May God bless y'all because I could not do it. I'm trying to tell you, man, this thing was crazy. But we made it, and here we are. Now, I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised. I say this all the time. People know Ben Troupe. They get to know Benjamin, the man, and I think it's going to be worth it.
Well, it should definitely. BenTroupe84.com, pre-order the Ben Troupe story. Everybody has a story, and Ben's telling his, and it's the Uncommon and Unfinished, the Ben Troupe story, and we look forward to that. It's September the 21st. And, Ben, before we let you go, though, I got to put you on the spot. We weren't able to talk with you at SEC Media Days. But who do you like in the East and West in the SEC? And is Alabama going to once again, reign supreme, or can they be knocked off this year?
I mean, I know the talking points this year for Alabama. If there was ever going to be a year to knock off Alabama, this is going to be the year. I don't know how much I believe that, but I think if Alabama is definitely the team. Make no mistake about it. They're definitely the team to beat. I mean, because people talking so much about that offense. That defense is going to be lights out. And you add in here, I mean, you get one of the best linebackers in the SEC coming over there. I mean, so for me, I think it's still going to be Alabama. Georgia, I still got those guys coming out of the East this year. Even if because I think they're under a different level of pressure than anybody else. I mean, you add guys like Eric Gilbert and Darion Kendrick, to go along with JT Daniels and that loaded offense, even with George Pickens not being out, I think they're going to be the guys. But keep an eye out, man, on the curious case of LSU, because I just don't know how good or bad LSU could be. They could be really, really good this year, beat Alabama and play Georgia in the SEC Championship game, but then they can go have a season like they did last year because you got so many new coordinators and new schemes, and we're going to see if Mr. Johnson is ready for the big times now that Miles Brennan got hurt for the year. But I'm still going with Alabama. Nick Saban, man, he's just too savvy, man. He's not going to have a quarterback making over $1 million in NIL and not go out there and put him on the national scale. So, yeah, Alabama, not because they have to, but because they want to. Alabama's the only team in college football. I don't got to win the West. I don't even got to win the SEC and still be one of the last 4 teams standing and win the Natty. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Nick Saban got a new contract extension. He got a quarterback in Bryce Young, man, who replacing Mac Jones. I think Alabama is going to run away with this thing, and they're going to be laughing at everybody else because they are the gold standard in college football.
You excited to see your Tennessee Titans play?
I am, man. Listen, I'm excited to see. Julio! Oh my God, we got Julio Jones. I'm trying my best to keep it under because I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan, but I got employed by the Tennessee Titans, so I can root for both. Arthur Smith, man, he gave them over Tennessee Titans a little mulligan, and he wanted to be able to sign that whole rookie class. And Kyle Pitts, the young man is wearing number 8. I think he's going to be a star. But yeah, man, looking forward to watching them Titans because I know everybody's going crazy about Trevor Lawrence down there with them Jacksonville Jaguars, but they still can't tackle Derrick Henry, so it's really not even going to matter.
BenTroupe84.com. Please order the book. As he said, It's going to be out September the 21st. The Uncommon and Unfinished, the Ben Troupe story. Thanks, man, for joining us and talking some football, talking about your new book. We're excited about that, and we're excited about connecting with you again as college football gets cranked up in the NFL. But always great conversation. Thanks, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Ben. Ben Troupe joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. That's some good stuff. Let's get a break. Tomorrow's headlines today. Let me wrap up the show.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck on Research Park southbound near Plummer. No injury reported. They're sending 2 HIMSA units to a wreck on Old Railroad Bed near Macklemore. Had one on California near Westmoreland. That one may have had an injury. Eastbound 565 about mile marker 17. That's Triana Boulevard. Nobody hurt there. Northbound on the Parkway near Bob Wallace should be about ready to clear. University in Jordan should also be clearing. The Somnodent from Dr. Sandman is insurance accepted for sleep apnea and for snoring. An easy-to-use oral device with no mask and no hose. RandallSandlin.com or 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right, even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
Maybe the air doesn't blow like it should, or it's needing new tires, or you're just ready for something newer. It's time to move up, time to trade up. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your current car or truck is worth more than you know. In fact, we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't trade. We have nearly 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage, gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. It's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your vehicle is worth more right now at Woody Anderson Ford. Corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
In today's real estate market, you need the right professionals to help make sure your home purchase is smooth and hassle-free. That's where Jacob Title comes in. Stan McDonald and the staff at Jacob Title cater to the realtor and clients who are looking for a top-flight closing experience. Jacob Title uses the latest and best technologies to ensure a safe and secure exchange of funds, and they pride themselves on great communication well before and during the real estate closing process. Jacob Title in Huntsville and Madison, and online at jacobtitle.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, the biggest headlines really, and if you are paying attention to college football, coming up at 11 a.m. this morning. So during the Tom Abraham show, this will be released. The NCAA Division I Committee on Infractions will release its decision and penalties regarding the Baylor football program dating back to when Art Briles was head coach. That is how far back you have to go.
I mean, I was like, because I remember I think Baylor basketball was kind of mentioned in that FBI investigation, not nearly as prominently as Kansas, LSU, Auburn, and some other schools. But I had not even thought about the Art Briles situation. That's so many years ago. But yeah, I mean, you remember the sexual assault allegations and it's
alleged failure to promote an atmosphere of compliance. The hearing was back in December.
Because they're on their second. They had Matt Rule as coach, as you remember.
Right.
And now they've got Dave Aranda. So it's been almost, they've had two coaches since then. So this is going to be interesting how it affects Dave Aranda going forward in Baylor football.
And we're going to take a stroll back down memory lane. 1 year ago today, Kevin Warren made the best decision he's ever made in his life, and that was to cancel the Big Ten football season.
And pretty much cancel the Big Ten. And they're still trying to recover from that lunacy.
That was 1 year ago today. My, how
52
time
to
flies.
24. That's all I got to say.
Oh, 256-576-4977. You have a couple minutes if you want to get in on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. If you have anything you want to get in. Don't forget, as we mentioned at the beginning, heat advisory for today. So if you got any kids playing sports, doing band practice, outdoor stuff, whatever it may be, keep them hydrated today. It's going to be warm. Cross country, please don't do anything that's going to hurt you or make you sick. But please be hydrated. It's going to be warm out there today.
Be safe out there. Make good decisions. As Scott said, have your water, have you some kind of hydration all the time. It's going to be very, very hot. Stay inside if possible, but we know, football practice is going on. We've been previewing high school football. We're going to continue to do that this week. We're going to continue to effort to feature some coaches and talk high school football because we're really excited to get it cranked up next week.
Well, we always need a good pep talk. Dan Campbell,
Oh,
Detroit
boy.
Lions head coach, providing us with a good pep talk this morning.
For me, odd jobs. I worked at a chicken shack when I was 16 years old. As a matter of fact, growing up, all my life I'd worked on our cattle ranch. My dad, one summer I was like, Dad, I don't want to do that, man. I'd see if I can go get paid because I didn't get paid for doing that job. That was like auto. Anyway, so I worked at a chicken shack, and I learned how to clean chicken, and I could do it blind over and over, and I'll never do it again. So I appreciate everybody that does that type of work because it got old quick.
Oh, just some Dan Campbell. I mean, just
Never
to
boring.
slip it in to the show, it's always a good thing.
And our good friend Brandon, a.k.a. on Twitter, at Crimson Bagman, Scott, he just tagged us on this. And
Yeah.
he offered to buy this television out of this woman's house.
Oh, I think I saw that on Twitter. Yes.
It's an RCA Victor cabinet model.
Oh, man. That thing is ginormous.
Yeah, it's a tube TV. He wants to play Nintendo Duck Hunt on it.
Told her I needed a glass tube TV. It is a glass tube TV.
There you go. My grandmother had
Woo,
one.
you probably have one in your garage.
I don't. We haven't found one of those yet.
Garage sale coming.
There you go.
All right, that's
We
gonna
could be live from the garage
We
sale.
will be live from your garage sale. Not could be.
Well, we better be somewhere where we're out of the heat. We'll be baking like taters, man. Thank you to Ben Troupe, BenTroupe84.com. Please order his book out September the 21st. And thank you to Nathan King.
Bacon like taters. We'll see you guys on a Thursday.
Braves baseball is celebrating 150 years, and this 2021 team is looking to kick down the door and make this season one for the history books.
Swing and a fly ball hits deep toward their bullpen. Are you kidding me? Another pinch hit homer.
Your new home of the Atlanta Braves.
Hit high in the air to deep right center field. We are tied!
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi at this hour. Positive news for the Colts. ESPN's Chris Mortensen reporting Carson Wentz is trending to open the season as their starting quarterback. All-Pro guard Quentin Nelson also on that path. Both are recovering from foot surgery. Sam Ehlinger and Jacob Eason are competing for the backup QB job. The Colts have given extensions to coach Frank Reich and GM Chris Ballard through the 2026 season. Source told Mort that Ballard's new deal has been complete since June, while Reich finalized his last week. Lionel Messi spoke at his introductory news conference with PSG today, said he's in the right place to win the Champions League again after what he called a very tough exit from Barcelona. He cited a reunion with former Barca teammate Neymar as a key factor in his decision to sign with PSG. Wednesday Night Baseball, Dodgers at the Phillies, 7 Eastern, ESPN TV. NL East leading Philadelphia has won 8 of its last 9 games.
From the ESPN studios at Pier 17 in the Seaport District of New York City, this is Greeny with Mike Greenberg on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and on ESPN Plus.
Back and better than ever, Greeny presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Goodyear Hotline. Big day. We've got a bet gone way wrong. We have great news for 2 rookies, a happy homecoming, and plenty of time for your calls. We are loaded. Let's roll.
Here we go! Only one place to start.
Well, the place to start is going to be with an aging superstar in a new place. But I want to also mention, in just a few moments, we will talk about what happens when betting on yourself goes wrong. What does that feel like? We'll talk about that in a few moments. But our Straight Talk today, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, comes from Russell Westbrook, who I've always liked. And I'll tell you, I will be completely honest, why I am such a Russell Westbrook fan. Because several years ago, whatever year Carmelo Anthony's first year in OKC was, whenever he went there to play with Westbrook, I took my kids to a game at the Garden to see OKC. It was Carmelo's return to New York to play against the Knicks. And I thought to myself, this will be a great game. It'll be an exciting night. You know, my kids are getting older. We'll try and have some fun. The night before that, it was a Saturday night game. The night before that, the Thunder played a triple overtime game in Philadelphia. And I want to say Russell Westbrook played like 50-something minutes. And I woke up the next morning with a cold pit in my stomach. And I thought, well, Melo will play because it's his return to the Garden, but there's no way Westbrook will play. Second game, back-to-back nights on the road after